The Dark Knight may have managed to save Gotham City from the forces of Black Mask and the Party Animals, but a cold front is moving in that threatens to destroy everything Bruce has already built. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Absolute Batman issue number 7 and find out together, shall we? So then, as this issue opens up, we're introduced to our brand new Absolute, Victor Freeze, as a young boy. It seems that his parents were globe-trotting scientists, who, when they weren't going on expensive African safaris, also believed that there were scientific secrets hidden deep within the world's glaciers, but I promise we'll double back to this one in a minute. Now, in the present, Bruce's childhood friends, the Crime Alley crew, are having a heartfelt street funeral for a fallen friend. I really love these panels too because everyone is shown in silhouette, but you 100% know exactly who each figure is by the article of clothing they're wearing, be it the Riddler's question mark necklace or the fur around the Penguin's collar. Now, who exactly is this friend who died? At first, I actually jumped to the conclusion that they were mourning Bruce. Remember, the last time Penguin saw him, he jumped out of a plane. But no, as it turns out, the man they're mourning today is none other than Matches Malone. Yeah, that's right, Batman's alternate street-level persona was actually a real guy in the Absolute universe, and as his friends tell, he was something of a wild man. Always quick to agree to a dare, and usually always in trouble with the police. How exactly did he die? Well, only Bruce Wayne knows for sure, and at that very moment, Bruce shows up to join his friends in eulogizing Matches. Which, to answer that question, we end up stepping back in time once again. It seems even after Batman managed to drive out Black Mask and the Party Animals, things didn't exactly get better in Gotham. Hamilton Hill won the mayoral race and ended up turning Gotham City into something of a police state. Something only made possible by all the brand new weapons and equipment that Black Mask promised him. Furthermore, the mysterious Ark M prison, it's still getting built out in Gotham Bay right now. Bruce wanted to go and investigate, but as he learned from Lucius, his construction job boss, the building of Ark M is apparently being handled by foreign contractors who go by the name JK. Get it? JK as in joking. Bruce desperately wants to get himself on one of those Ark M building crews so that he can investigate this situation closer. This is where Matches came in. Apparently his newest hustle has been making counterfeit papers. He started making Bruce the papers that he asked for, but old Matches just couldn't help but be a wild man and take a look at what was going on at Ark M for himself, and now he has some very damning cell phone video that has him scared as hell because he has seen something that he is very surely not supposed to have. A terrified Matches asks Bruce for help, only for his face to completely melt off his damn body. Bruce isn't sure if this is some sort of bioweapon or toxic contagion, but either way, he's more resolute than ever now to actually investigate Ark M and avenge his friend's untimely death, even though he promised Alfred before he left back to England that he was going to take it easy and recover from his injuries. In fact, he walks around in an arm brace this whole issue. Naturally, the Crime Alley crew are absolutely horrified by this revelation, and it ends up picking an old wound that, despite them being such good friends and sharing everything with each other, Bruce is only now revealing to them his double life as Batman. In fact, as Bruce goes out of his way to explain in a weird way, his old friends who survived the mass shooting at the zoo that day are as responsible for him becoming Batman as anyone. He learned to fight with Killer Croc, studied science with the Riddler, learned about law and politics with Two-Face, and even learned a little bit about the inner workings of the underworld via the Penguin. Though, in classic Batman fashion, when his friends reach out to him, he ends up only pushing them away. Well, it's nice to know something is consistent regardless of the universe, am I right? As Batman vows to investigate Ark M all on his own, and later that night he ends up staging a daring break into this state-of-the-art prison while also taking a conference call with Agent Alfred, who managed to run some tests on his end and learn what killed Matches Malone was not a virus or a bioweapon, it was actually a bacteria, which I promise will make way more sense by the end of this. Now, what else did Matches manage to capture on his cell phone? Well, it seems that this prison is housing a bunch of the greatest scientific minds the world has ever known, with names like Langstrom and Isley. But they're not just keeping them in regular old cells, they're keeping them cryogenically frozen, a process that, you guessed it, ends up sucking down a lot of power. power. So far, the only person that Bruce has managed to riddle out actually has a connection to both Gotham and Ark M is none other than, you guessed it, Dr. Victor Freeze. His cryogenics company apparently runs the whole operation, and as such, Batman decides he needs to sneak inside and get an audience with this guy to figure out what the hell is going on. Bruce isn't in the inner sanctum for long before things start making sense. Apparently, they moved a bunch of ancient animals here via the ice. And much like in real life, turns out ancient bacteria actually do live deep within polar ice caps. This is apparently what Dr. Victor Freeze has dedicated his entire life to. Also, surprisingly, he's pretty affable and nice to Bruce when he sees him, even looking past his fake ID. Bruce also asks about Nora Freeze, and it's here we end up getting the big revelation. This guy he's talking to is indeed Dr. Victor Freeze, but he's actually Dr. Victor Freeze Jr. Victor Sr. and Nora had started the research into the ancient glaciers. They believed that the world was keeping things frozen as a kind of planetary safekeeping mechanism. A theory they would end up testing on their very own son, Victor Jr., who during a trip to Tanzania ended up getting sick with a very rare disease. They don't say it's McGregor syndrome, but come on, it's McGregor syndrome. Victor and Nora froze their son in hopes that medical science would eventually catch up with the disease, and it did, only here's the problem: when they unthawed him, it had some very unforeseen side effects. Basically, he wasn't sick anymore, but now he's a twisted monstrosity like a sleep paralysis demon or Slender Man if he started smoking that fentanyl. And now as the comic comes to a close, poor Bruce is at this guy's mercy. And so that was Absolute Batman issue number 7, everybody, and once again Scott Snyder and company managed to deliver a real banger from top to bottom. I like how even though Batman was victorious in his first arc, things didn't instantly get better in Gotham City. In fact, things got much worse. This issue is also an absolute smorgasbord of in-jokes and references for longtime Batman fans. From Lucius to Matches Malone and everyone else in between, I had a big old smile on my face from first page to last page. I also really appreciate this issue for putting in focus once again just how important all of Bruce's childhood friends are to helping shape the man he became in this world, both literally and figuratively. This is a Bruce who couldn't afford to travel the world, so instead he tried to learn everything he could from the people around him, but now he's starting to have a falling out with those people, and honestly, I'm really invested. I hope this Bruce can salvage his relationship with the Crime Alley crew. And then, of course, as the cherry on this brand new Sunday, we have the horrific reinvention of Mr. Freeze, which is actually not totally new. In fact, a lot of this story felt familiar to me, and then I remembered why. Scott Snyder had actually told a very similar feeling story over in his old All-Star Batman book. It was one of the few times he actually worked directly with Mr. Freeze, and you guessed it, that story also involved ancient diseases and glaciers. Though while that idea was kind of half-formed, here I think the idea has really managed to reach its final form, and oh man, is it beautifully creepy. Again, sticking to what's great about Mr. Freeze, misplacing of emotions. But now it's actually a son who ended up freezing his two parents, not allowing them to die. It's fresh, it's interesting, it's cool, it's creepy, it's basically everything Scott Snyder excels at as a writer, which is why I would give this one another very well-deserved 8.5 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers.